Alright, so here's today's problem. We got a ceiling fan here, and I've only got 2 light bulbs in it right now, but the problem is when you pull the chain to turn off the lights, nothing happens. The fan works just fine. I turned it off because I'll be working on it. But what I need to do here is I need to replace the switch inside the fan that turns off the light, and I will show you how to do that. Step 1, disconnect power, and then after that I'll show you what we need to do. So now we got the power off to the fan. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove all these light bulbs. After you remove a light bulb, you'll see inside there kind of a washer, a nut holding everything together. It holds the globe in place. You'll want to reach inside here. Remember, the power is off, and then you can unscrew this nut right here and remove the entire globe. Let's do that next. So as you can see, we removed all the globes. The globes have a ceramic nut that actually just lock around this area, and over here I've placed the globes. There's the ceramic nut that holds the globe in place. Be very careful with those because it's very easy to break. What we need to do now is we need to remove this bottom plate of the fan. You'll see 3 screws on the outside of the fan down here. We need to remove those 3 screws. There's going to be a whole nest of wires in here, but that's what we need to get to. Let's do that next. So we have removed the 3 screws. Now this is what we've got. We've got the light part actually hanging out here, a bunch of stuff actually hanging out of the fan. Let me show you what it is that we actually need to replace. If you look down here, there's kind of a snail shaped device right there in the middle. That's the thing that we need to replace, that snail shaped device. And the way to get this thing out is to actually unscrew that part right there where the chain is. So we're going to unscrew that with our hands. We're going to loosen that up, and there's going to be 2 wires connecting this within these wires here. Right after we unscrew this area, we're going to disconnect those wires, and I'll show you what to do next. So this is the switch. I've unscrewed it from the center, which was right there where that hole is. And you can see it's got 2 wires coming off of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clip those 2 wires as close as I can to this switch, and I'm going to be replacing the switch. Notice there's a little bit of chain hanging down here. You might want to save some of that chain. Don't throw that out yet. And also, be sure to remember which one is the top wire and which one is the bottom wire when you clip those. I do believe that makes a difference, so make sure you don't mix those up. The top wire and the bottom wire, we're going to clip those as close as we can, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put in a replacement switch right here, which is something that you can find at Lowe's, and it should go in no problem. Let's take a look. So I've used some wire cutters. I removed the old switch. This is the top wire. This is the bottom wire. What I need to do next in order to prepare this is I need to take a utility knife, and about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch I need to actually strip the plastic off this wire so we just got bare wire showing. That way we can wire nut it to the new switch. So let's take care of that right now. Remember, the power is off. Okay, now I have stripped the top wire. You can see here that there's some metal showing. I've also stripped the bottom wire. You can see some metal showing there. What I'm going to do is I am going to reinstall this switch the same way. It's actually going to be facing that way. The top wire is going to connect to the top wire, bottom wire is going to connect to the bottom wire. In order to connect that, I'm going to use little wire nuts like that. What you do is you just connect these 2 wires and you screw on a wire nut. Remember, turn it to the right. Those 2 things will connect to each other, and then we can put this end, unscrew off the little gold piece, stick it inside the hole, and then we can turn on the power and test it and see if it works before I put it all back together. So you can see that I've put a wire nut on the top wires, put a wire nut on the bottom wires, connected those, and I actually put in a light bulb just to test and see if that would work. The chain is sticking out right here. I actually screwed that piece right back on. There's a switch, slightly different color. Let's test it out and see if it works. There we go. Now comes the most difficult part, actually putting all this back together. All these wires do fit up into there. It's just going to take a little finagling to do that, but once you get it up, you put those screws back on in those 3 different parts, and just kind of reassemble the globes and the lights from there. Shouldn't be too difficult. Well, I've got it all back together. Screwed in these screws right here. Bottom fits in. I just need to put the old chain on top of this chain. The only crummy thing is I couldn't find a bronze chain, so it's not going to match the chains very well. But now all I need to do is put on the globes with those ceramic nuts and then some light bulbs, and then I'm done. So, piece of cake. Sorry, Westinghouse, you need to make a better switch.